after Peter made his decision of believing in Jesus and believing that he truly was the Son of God, he, along with James and John, were brought up to a mountain by Jesus himself. And there Jesus transfigured before them. The gospel says that his face started shining and his clothes became an angelic white, with Moses and Elijah talking behind him. As Peter tried to speak, a cloud came out, with God speaking loudly and saying, "This is my Son, the beloved, and with him I am well pleased. Listen to him." At first they were frightened and fell to the ground, but Jesus touched them and said, "Get up and do not be afraid." And when they looked up, there was only Jesus. Afterwards, Jesus told them not to tell anyone about what they saw. I think that's because people will only have faith because they would have heard of someone physically seeing him. Jesus transfigured before them to show his faith in them and giving them a chance to show their faith in him and their faith in what God told them. That is what we all have to do. We all have to keep our faith in Jesus and keep our faith in what God tells us. I was always a happy child, mostly because I had a supporting family and a bunch of friends at school and my old church, St. Paul's in Malden. Even at a very young age, I was told that I was very mature. I could understand and accept a lot of things that other kids my age couldn't. But something I always struggled with was that I couldn't understand why there were problems if we had God. I would ask my mother and Sunday school teachers why there were diseases and mean people. And expecting a direct answer, I was upset when they told me that they weren't sure and that it was a mystery. But that I shouldn't worry because God never puts us in a problem that he can't help us out of. What a difficult question I asked, but still, a question that every child who thinks about God will ask themselves or a parent at some point. But unfortunately, some children who never get a satisfying answer will grow up not knowing that God is by their side. And for a while, they won't believe. I was one of those children, and I didn't believe that God was with me. And one day, when I felt that my faith was too weak, I decided it was too difficult to believe in God, even though I wanted to. After my decision, I carried through my days feeling lonely, angry, and depressed. I'd go to school and not let myself learn. I'd go to chorus and not let myself sing. I had no motivation and no self-confidence. I didn't feel smart, funny, pretty, or popular in my group of friends. Because I was so sad, I lost my great relationships with my family and friends, which only resulted in making me sadder. Soon, my friends, family, and even teachers began to notice. But I didn't want to talk about it. It was something I wanted to keep to myself. About a month ago, there was a senior high retreat at one of my favorite places in the world, Barbara C. Harris Camp Conference Center. It was really fun to meet new people and do the activities, even if they were about God. And I didn't mind, because there were kids just like me who struggled with their faith, who were there to find proof to believe. Each night, some members of DYC, the group of kids who organized the retreats, would go up in front of all of us and tell a story like I am now. another talked about his friends breaking and then buying him a new guitar. But one girl told the most inspirational story I've ever heard. She spoke about herself in high school and about the most popular guy who asked her out and their abusive relationship. She kept it a secret and took the emotional and physical pain she was given. She thought it took strength and bravery to keep her pain a secret and to not have told anyone. She then told us about how lonely she felt at that time, how she lost her friends and lost her confidence, just like I did. Her story was so emotional that everyone was close to tears. It was one of the saddest things most of us had ever heard. But there was not one dry eye when she told us about how she became stronger and finally told her boyfriend that he would never hit her again and that he was out of her life forever. She realized that it was stronger of her to stop the pain instead of accepting it, which she realized inside a church like this one. She told us about the very back row she sat in alone, until a woman who she never met before sat right next to her. She told us about all the empty seats there were and how shocked she was that the woman knew it was her duty to sit next to her. She told us that she saw God in this woman, and although she was a stranger, she instantly connected with her and trusted her. And so she shared her story, which she never shared before. And because she saw God in her, she was able to regain her strength and her faith. I'm sure this girl never considered the fact that her story would be such an impact on someone. Although I never had to go through what she went through, I related to her so well. After her story, I tried to think about the people I was pushing away, and if I saw God in them. And I did. I saw God in every single one of them. I saw the qualities of being reliable, trustworthy, loyal, and loving in all the people around me who tried to stay close and help me. At that retreat, I was able to regain my faith. I realized that God was and is always with me because He's in everyone. He's in the people you can trust. He's in the people who help. He's in the people who make you laugh. And He's in the people who I pushed away, who tried to help me. The answer I got from my mother and Sunday school teachers of how God would never put us in a problem that He couldn't help us out of really is a direct answer to my difficult question. Whatever problem God puts us through is only to make us stronger. And if we need help, He'll be there to help us through it. And so will the people around us, as long as we keep our faith like Peter did and recognize the loyalty God has to us. Although it's okay to struggle with your faith, everyone should know that you should at least keep your faith in the people around you who care about you, and they will help you regain your faith in God. As a congregation, we all need to support each other as we continue with our search for faith in God. So I want everyone to look at the person next to you and ask yourself, do you see God in them? Amen.
Amen.